Greetings, I'm Joe Hannan, Commercial Horticulture Field Specialist for Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. I primarily serve grape and apple growers across the state, as well as providing technical support for the FSMA produce safety rule, so growers that are affected by the produce safety rule. Today I want to take a little bit of time to talk about tools and technology and really focus in on high tunnel controllers. Of course, when we're on the farm, all of us have to leave the farm at some point, whether it's for just trying to have a social life, going to kids' ball games, going to market, running errands, etc. We're all away from the farm. And we now are at a point where we have hardware, software, interconnectivity back to our cell phones in order to make control and management decisions away from the farm via those cell phone apps. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the technology that is out there. So the most basic stuff that we have for making controls within our high tunnel are simple Wi-Fi smart plugs. These can be plugged in and controlled through an app on your phone, but they have their limitations. First and foremost, they're basically on-off only. So turn a fan on, turn a fan off, turn a light on, turn a light off. They don't allow you a lot of flexibility as far as opening and closing curtains or opening and closing shutters and things like that. I've had very mixed experience with some of these. Some work great, some don't work so well. Price for these things is all over the board. What I have here allows for 8 different control options within our phone application. It'll run you about $180, but there are certainly other modules out there or other outlet controllers out there that are more in that $20 to $30, $40 range. So there's a lot of variability with them. Other limitations that they have is that they're limited to basically 15 amps. So a standard home outlet amperage is what can run through these things. That doesn't allow you a lot of flexibility or a lot of options for powering a lot of things through these. So you're going to run 1 or 2 fans through these or a couple lights through these, but you're not going to be running your whole system or your whole high tunnel controls through one of these outlet controllers. They're also not really intended for outdoor use, so look at it from a standpoint of an annual expense, not something that you're going to buy and have for a long term, and thus something on the cheaper side might be a little bit more suitable. So something like this that you can buy from a variety of retailers. It's, a couple plugs, because realistically you're only going to control a couple different things at once with that 15 amp limitation. $30, and you can get a new one the next year. But again, they're out there, they're available for simple basic on-off controls. As we get to some of our more advanced options, whether you buy your high tunnels from Rolling Acre Produce Supplies, Nilt's Produce Supplies, Morgan County Seeds, again, options that many of our Iowa growers are purchasing from, you can get the controller from Advancing Alternatives. And this controller, it is not Wi-Fi connected, but it does allow you some automated controls for typically people buy them for their end wall or their sidewall curtains. It will run you for the controller alone about $1,100, and then you have the motors and things for the curtains as well. So it's reasonably priced, but it's not something you're just going to jump in to. The nice thing is these controllers, even though they're not Wi-Fi connected, you can get an anemometer, you can get a rain sensor, so that when a storm does roll in and you're not on the farm, you can have it set up to automatically close up your high tunnel for you, just simply by having that anemometer to measure wind speed differences. And really when we're looking at a storm rolling through, that's really what we're worried about. We're worried about the high winds taking and destroying the high tunnel. So you can add an anemometer to these control systems and allow you to automatically shut it down, or you can add a rain sensor to it. When you're looking at these advancing alternative controllers, keep in mind that they don't just have to control your sidewall curtains. They can control your end wall vents, your rooftop vents, various servos and motors, so they can control several different options out there. A lot of times they'll control 4 to 6 different pieces of equipment. So you can have them do more than just your sidewall curtains, and buying motors, servos, cylinders, etc. A lot of those aren't real expensive if you're just looking at controls for like a small greenhouse vent that we have shown here. So lots of different options that you can incorporate into your tunnel with one of these controllers. To get into the Wi-Fi controllers, though, you really have to go more towards something that has targeted for a greenhouse or aquaponic type system in order to have that control back through your cell phone. So things like the Grow Link, things like the iPonic 614-2624 from Link 4, things like the Smart Bee. These controls will all run you about $1,000 to $1,500, and they're more targeted towards greenhouses and hydroponic grow rooms, not necessarily for high tunnels, though they allow you enough flexibility that I think you could set them up to control curtains and vents and things like that and get that Wi-Fi connected control back to your router, and then being able to control it via your cell phone or the apps on your cell phone. So there are options out there, but they're not simple plug and play solutions. Then, of course, you can go with things like the Titan controllers, the Agrotech controllers. But as you get into Titan and Agrotech, you really get into full-on greenhouse controllers. And so you're looking at much more than that $1,000, $1,500 a piece to get into those types of systems. Those are really, really true greenhouse controllers. So they allow you a lot of flexibility and build out, but you pay for it as well. The other downside with the simple Grow Link, iPonic 614s, the Smart Bee, they are also limited to basically your 15 to 20 amps of control through that system. So you can get a fair bit of controller, but you're not going to be running a whole light bank. You're not going to be running a lot of fans and other things like that. But if you're just looking for opening and closing vents, they're going to work fairly well for you with some tweaking and modifying, again, because they're not plug and play for you. But they are readily available. Again, so they're not targeted, they're targeted towards hydroponic systems, and you can make them work, but it's going to take some creative ingenuity to get them to work for you and do what you want them to do. So there are other things out there that aren't necessarily controllers, but they are pieces of information that will tell you information that is useful for you. So there's lots of different temperature alarms for your coolers, for your high tunnel, both on the cold side and the hot side, that will connect back to your cell phone. So here I have it's a temp stick. You can put it in your cooler, put it in your high tunnel, and pull up the information from your cell phone. You got to have Wi-Fi access out there in the tunnel, so it's got to be somewhere close enough where you can get a signal. But again, it tells you what the temperature is in your tunnel and your cooler, etc. Right now, very timely is heat bench controllers. So you can get controllers that will plug in and tie back to a Wi-Fi connection, so you can control them with your cell phone and see what the temperature is and control and adjust the temperature again back from your cell phone. So those options are out there. You can also get Wi-Fi connected cameras, so you can see what's going on in your high tunnel, see what's going on in your cooler if you've got a light in there. See what's going on in your grow room as you're getting your transplants up and going. And any of these temperature alarms, the heat bench controls, these connected cameras, they're fairly reasonably priced. You're looking at about $30 to $40 entry price for getting into these systems. And of course, the sky's the limit as far as what you pay for what kind of different features that you want out there. But again, they're readily available from many of our online suppliers and other retail outlets out there. So if you haven't taken a chance to look at some of the different high tunnel controllers, some of the different temperature monitors, control systems for your grow room, for your heat mats and things like that, definitely do take a look at it. Again, we're all away from the farm, whether it's for going to the farmers markets, whether it's going and having some sort of personal life on the farm. The connectivity back to your cell phone allows you to at least know what's going on onto your farm and have some control over what's going on your farm while you're away, especially when a storm pops up or something like that. So it doesn't take the place of being out on the farm and doing your regular scouting and maintenance and checking, but it does allow you some some time away from the farm. So do take a look at some of these different options out there if you think they could help you out when you're away from the farm. So again, I'm Joe Hannan, Commercial Horticulture Field Specialist for Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today.